Most people don't know what's holding them back, but you do because you listen to me, Sam, your self-care guru and journal junkie. Welcome to Journal Entries, your safe place where you can tune in weekly to get tips, tricks, and journal prompts to uncover your feelings, gain clarity, and make your move. Welcome to this week's podcast episode, or as I used to say, welcome to this week's journal entry. I am going to be talking about emotional goals. At the time of this recording, it is January, and my headspace is still on New Year's resolutions and goals and vision and all of that. Goals and New Year's resolutions. And I just wanted to bring to light this concept that not all goals need to be tangible, for lack of a better word that's not coming to my brain right away. You can have a goal that fulfills you emotionally. Typically, when I at least used to set goals, they always used to be like, earn this much money, or go on an adventure, or try and go out and do something with friends X number of times. I never really set a goal to be less stressed. I never set a goal to speak up more. I never set a goal to stop self-sabotaging. But all those things are definitely things that you can work on, that I believe once you work on those things, it will help you to improve the rest of your life, your relationships, your work, the way that you view yourself, the things that you then go out and do in the world because of your increased self-worth and self-care and self-love, all of the things. So I am going to walk through the top emotional goals that I help women with. And all of these are actually coming from the Journal Prompt Archive. I got the idea to share the Journal Prompt Archive or pieces of it with you this week because I think it must be the new year. A lot of people have been gaining access to it and utilizing it. And so I am going to be sharing these emotional goals, walking through a little bit what they are, although I think they're pretty self-explanatory, and giving you one prompt for each emotional goal to help you start to work through it. I will say that inside the Journal Prompt Archive, there's 100 journal prompts. These 100 prompts are split up by the emotional goals that I am about to mention to you. And then within that, there are journal prompts that are to tap more into that emotion and to dig deeper into the feeling so that you can gain understanding, as well as prompts to help you gain hope and see the light and create action steps. So there's both kind of prompts for each emotional goal. Again, I'm just going to share one with you, but I tried to pick one that is like really powerful and that I was most inspired when I put this together. The first emotional goal is overwhelm. Raise your hand or beep your horn if you're driving if you've ever felt overwhelmed. That would be me. Overwhelm is so common, and typically this is simply when we have a lot going on, a lot on our plates, and sometimes it's just a lot on our brain. I don't know if you've ever felt overwhelmed when we do have a lot going on, like a lot of events, a lot at work, but then somehow we do have a slow season and we're still overwhelmed. We still have somehow, like, we default to overwhelm. So this happens a lot. The prompt that I want to share with you is a favorite that you may have heard in other episodes. It's this: what could you release or let go of? What isn't yours to carry? I understand that you do have a lot of important things to take care of and a lot of responsibilities. But if I had to pose this question to you, is there anything that you are absorbing, any responsibility or task maybe that you're absorbing that isn't actually yours? Somebody else could do that thing, or it actually is somebody else's emotion that they need to work through. You might feel overwhelmed because they are feeling a certain situation, thinking, oh my gosh, I really wish that I could fix this for them. But that actually is not your job. So, what can you just try to let go of? What can you release? What is not yours to carry? The next emotional goal is related. It is stress. I love this prompt. And it's actually one that one of my clients inside of Emotionally Empowered, we just used this form of journaling during our weekly call, and it's letter writing. So if you are feeling stressed about something or someone, write a letter that you'll never send to the person or thing that's stressing you out and vent with honesty. I cannot tell you how many letters I have in my Google Drive that I've never sent and I will never send. But it's just me venting of just like, dear so and so, this is what you said. This is what I really think about it. This is all that I have going on. I don't need this right now. Whatever it is. Thinking of it in a letter format versus journaling, it's so much more conversational and you're able to write more. You're able to get more out. You're able to think as if you were speaking versus the pressure that some of us have or that some of us put on ourselves when we sit down to journal. We think that we have to write perfectly with perfect grammar, and it just gets in the way of actually having like the release and the relief feeling. The next emotional goal is speaking up and communicating. Now, I think that communicating or communication could be a quote unquote regular goal that somebody might set, but I feel like it's an emotional goal because of the reason that most people aren't speaking up, the reason that they're not communicating. That is getting in the way of why they are afraid to say the thing. So, here's my prompt. If I could say anything to anyone without fearing their reaction, I would say dot, dot, dot. By the way, I'm going to add all of these prompts into the show notes, so you don't need to remember these. I should have said that to start. The next emotional goal is self-sabotage. Anyone used to this? Either you start to see some success and then you stop it. You just get in your own way and you just do something or believe something, most likely, that just squashes the success that you have or the momentum that you have. So, the journal prompt that I have for self sabotage is if you believed that rejection was redirection, how did a past rejection benefit you? I like this one because I think that lots of people, or maybe I'm just speaking to myself, self sabotage because of the past, because of experiences that we've had that felt like rejection. Like, this didn't work out, so why would I even bother? So, if you believed that any past rejection was actually redirection, something positive, something that actually led you to where you were supposed to be or led you to where you are today, how did that benefit you? Are you glad that you are where you are today? Even if you're not super duper happy where you are you in a better place in any capacity? I really like that one. The next, we're on the upswing of emotional goals. The next one is a combination of three. It's health slash career slash inspiration. Because I was thinking of what do people journal about slash what do I journal about? I've been journaling consistently for a while now, and I do journal about my health and wellness goals, my career goals, and I definitely journal when I'm unmotivated. So I have a whole bunch of prompts for this. The one that I would want to share with you today is, when were you most inspired in life? And what did that look like? What did that feel like? What exactly were you doing? Just write about that. And if you like the letter writing format, write a letter to a friend sharing that. When were you most inspired? Or you could write a letter to your past self when you were most inspired and have that conversation with your past self talking about that experience. Another topic, another emotional goal. This isn't really an emotional goal, but I knew that I wanted to have a section for this because there are days where I wake up and I feel good. And it's a good thing to wake up feeling good. However, it is the hardest for me to journal when I feel good. It's so easy for me to journal when I am like overly overwhelmed or stressed or really stuck in my ways and self-sabotaging. But when I wake up and I'm happy and at peace and like there's nothing really ruffling my feathers, I just sit down and I'm like, what do I even write about? What do I need to vent about? What do I release? So I have a whole section for when everything feels good. My prompt for you today is, if you finally gave yourself credit, what would you celebrate yourself for? I think that we don't give ourselves enough credit for so many things, and I am definitely guilty of this. That's one reason why I try and track my accomplishments. I call it my accomplishment list. I try and fill this out every day. And the things on my accomplishment list are things like recording this podcast episode and then uploading the podcast episode and having a meeting. But it's also things like showering, making my lunch, because there are days where I don't do that. I'm just too lazy, or I just eat chips for lunch or something. Even if I exercise or if I get groceries, I add every single thing to my accomplishment list, because there were so many days where I did stuff all day long and I got to the end of my day and I thought, what did I even do? I don't even know. I can't even, if someone said, what did you do today? I did so much that I blanked. Like nothing came to my mind. So having this accomplishment list, I reflect back on it right before I'm done for the day. So I can see like all these things that I've done. And it feels really good. Even if showering is one of those things, I'm like, yeah, I did shower today, because that doesn't happen every day. And even if it did happen every day, I did it and I'm choosing to feel proud of it. The last emotional goal or section topic now is to better understand yourself. This is another topic or section that is really good for when you wake up and you feel good and you don't really have much on your mind. You can explore yourself. The prompt that I chose is, list 3 experiences from your childhood that stick out. Write them down, and what do you remember about them? You can take this in so many different directions. You could write about them and then think of, like, why did you react in that way? Or maybe you focus on the people. Who specifically was there? Are they still in your life? Do you want them in your life? How can you make them part of your life again if they are still in this world with us? There is a section of the Journal Prompt Archive called Blueprints. I give you the Breakthrough Blueprint, which is actually a free resource, but then I have detailed blueprints that walk you through how to journal through more difficult emotions. So I don't use the Breakthrough Blueprint for all of my journal entries by any means. It's really just when I want to get to the bottom of something. In the Journal Prompt Archive, the blueprints are journaling through overwhelm, journaling through self-sabotage, and journaling through communication. So I give specific examples for that. If you have enjoyed what you heard and really felt pulled to one of those emotional goals, I encourage you to look through the Journal Prompt Archive. I will share the link in my show notes. I will also share all of those journal prompts in the show notes as well. Otherwise, simply try one of those journal prompts. I would be really excited to hear what you think and if you have any revelations from them. That's my favorite type of message to get, is I did the XYZ prompt and I felt so good. Or this came up and I had no idea. Or I started to journal for this reason and then this came up. It makes my heart smile. So thank you for being here. Thank you for listening, and I will see you next week. Thanks so much for tuning in to this week's journal entry. I love connecting with my listeners, so make sure you screenshot this episode and tag me on Instagram at samantha.s.says so I know you're listening. And don't forget to grab your free training and journal prompts at www.samanthapenkoff.com/podcast.